Welcome back to Making Sense. So glad to have you back with us again this sunny Friday afternoon. If you're joining us again, welcome back. Please tell us where it is you're tuning in from. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome to Making Sense. So if you've not been with us before, Making Sense is all about conversations. It's built off principles from my book, Making Sense. But the conversations we have go beyond just money. So the book has a lot of interesting lessons about personal finance written from true stories of people. And we take this principle step by step and keep having conversations. So we've had conversations on money, we've had conversations on business. And today we are going to have yet another very exciting conversation on jobs. And the topic for today is, how do you leverage off your job to actually create wealth? So what have you been hearing about jobs in the press? What have you been hearing? There's been a lot of talk about people losing jobs, unemployment, loss of incomes, paid leave, unpaid leave, and the noise can be so discouraging. And what we're not talking about enough is, going forward, what does the job market look like? Going forward, how do people approach jobs? As we keep saying, there's a big reset happening, whether it's with business, whether it's the world, whether it's with certain industries. We need to talk about what is the reset to you who's looking for a job, to you who's in a job, to you who's looking for a career change. How do you address opportunities? How do you see yourself? And I'm coming from this conversation from the aspect, yes, I have been in jobs, I have been employed before, but I'm also coming to this conversation from the point of an entrepreneur. And last week, we talked about the entrepreneur mindset. And if you were with us last week, you'll remember I said this: entrepreneurship is not simply about starting a business. It's about the attitude in which you actually bring into the business. So being creative, being focused, being a problem solver. And going forward, we shouldn't think of entrepreneurs just as people who start businesses. So we have to have that same approach. It's got to be a lifestyle. So whether it's in your home, whether it's in your job. And I am so excited today to have Yvette with us. Yvette Akoth is a commercial lawyer and an advocate of the High Court. Welcome, Yvette.
Thank you so much, Waceke. I'm so glad to be joining you during this conversation. This has been a very good session so far, so I'm just happy to be part of it.
All right, okay. So before I come back to Yvette, I want to ask everybody who's starting to tune in, and thank you for everybody who's starting to tune in from Nairobi, wherever you are, whichever country you're tuning in from. I want to ask you, what does your job mean to you? Yeah. And let me go back to what I was saying about entrepreneurship. When you think about an entrepreneur, you start thinking of people who have ideas, people who solve problems, people who have a vision, go-getter, purpose. So what does having a job mean to you? Because the first thing, I think, given the environment we're going into, simply having a job for the sake of having a job, that is coming to an end, yeah? A job can't simply be the place where you spend 8 to 5 and wait for a paycheck at the end of the month. So what does having a job mean to you? What is your job to you? And maybe with that, Yvette, I'll let you kick us off with telling us more about yourself. But Yvette, what does your job, I know we've said you're a lawyer, but what does that job mean to you?
Wow, that's a very loaded question, because for most of us, our job, as you said, is the 9 to 5. But yes, I look at my job as school, so to speak. You know, it's a place I learn while at the same time I learn something, because there's so much to do in your job space and your work that can entail, essentially, you know, you learn new skills, you learn how to interact with people, you learn how to communicate, you just need to know what you're learning, you know. So I think a lot of us are not aware that there's so much our job can offer us than just our paycheck.
Okay. So I like what you said. It's a place you learn, but Yvette, you're learning in that job so that what happens?
I'm learning so that I grow. I'm a brand. Every time I go to the office, I remember that I am a brand. So what do I do for my brand? I want to grow my brand. I want to stand out. I want to do better. I want to leverage on what I'm learning right now to see how it can help me lift my career and myself in the future. So when I go in, I learn everything I can, and I also add value to where I am.
Okay. I think, guys, I hope you have heard what Yvette has said. I am a brand, yeah? And this is something I learned, in fact, when I went and started business for the first time. I thought the customers who I was working with will immediately move to my business. And that's when the whole concept of brand hit me. I was Waceke, yes, but I was Waceke under somebody else's brand. And I was never conscious about building a brand. So I think a lot of people, when they go to work, they don't realize that, yes, you are a brand. It's like me limited is going into the office, yeah? Exactly. So I am going to build me limited and be intentional about being me limited. So from your experience, Yvette, what does becoming a brand, what is that process like for you? Being intentional about I am a brand, remembering I am a brand. What are the things you do or don't do, or you're conscious of, even at work, about in that space? Yeah.
The first thing that, when you think about a brand, the first thing you think about is the image. Image comes from how you dress, the way you talk, what you think about, what your output is. So having that kind of mentality helps me decide that there are certain things that I have to do and I can do that will make me stand out as a person. And there are things that I just won't do. It's the same way you look at it as a company. You said me limited. What does me limited stand for? What is my vision? What is my mission? What are my goals? What do I want to achieve in 5 to 10 years? In the first 3 years, my me limited. What is my plan? What do I stand for? You know, all those things that you look into when you're trying to be a brand for a company. That company brand into Yvette brand.
Yes.
So what are you known for as, say, Yvette or Waceke or whichever individual is out there? Yeah.
So for everybody listening who has tuned in, are you conscious that you are me limited? If I was to ask you, and please put it on the comments, please comment, what are you known for at work? What are you known for? Even if you've left a job for whatever reason, what were you known for? And what do you think they still remember about you? What is your legacy? Because I think when we go into work, we just think, oh, I am going to work for somebody else. And we're not conscious about what is the vision that you have, so that you can even understand how does that job actually fit into that vision. And even when you're talking, and I'm coming from it as an employer perspective, you really want to work with people who they can tell you, I want to work here because it fits into my life plan in this particular way. Because I think a job is not a job. We spend so much of our lives at work. It's got to mean something. It has got to have purpose. There's got to be a vision. You're growing and you're learning about yourself.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yvette, what would you say your skills are? Because a lot of people, and this is why I'm asking this question, because a lot of people, if I tell people, what are your skills? They tell me law, they tell me accounting, they tell me marketing, they tell me architecture. And I'm like, and so are a million other people saying the same thing, What would you say your skills are? I know everybody's like, but she's already told us she's a lawyer, What are you, what are your skills, And how did you discover, even better, how did you discover those skills?
So I'll answer that through a story and just random examples that I have. So there's this running group where I work where people call me group of schools. We know about group of schools, yes?
Yes.
So we tend to have gone to these, fancy schools with all our weird accents and all this education and everything. Now, looking at that, before it was just a joke, but having thought about it and internalized it, I started to realize, wait, this actually could be a communication skill. This is something that people are saying about me. There's a way I speak that's different from the rest. I carry myself that's different from the rest. There's a way I solve problems that's different from the rest. So that just goes to my first skill, communication. I'm a really good communicator. I walk into any room and I'll communicate on the fly on anything. I can and convince you on different things at any point in time. Because first of all, my basis has always been learn everywhere you can. So every time there's a conversation happening, I'm listening, I'm interacting. That already puts me in a place where I can speak anywhere I go.
Right, so right.
My second skill, I'll say, is I'm a problem solver. That comes to me very good at identifying problems and just solving them with innovative ways to even solve them. So I tend to analyze a lot. it can have me stuck on an analysis paralysis kind of situation, but on the because I always see the broad spectrum of issues that might arise or me, but not to a lot of other people. I tend to offer a different perspective generally.
Yeah.
So that's a problem solving kind of
Okay, all right. I hope, guys, I thank you for, I can see everybody tuning in. I hope you're understanding and seeing how Yvette has explained herself. And I think this is the thing, this is the transition we all have to make. We have to stop identifying ourselves based on just a qualification, because that is many people, but we've got to start understanding you're not just one of the many. What is unique to you? And today is about leveraging on it and how you leverage on that. Everybody has a degree. So if you start saying, my skills, I have a MBA, so does many people. I have a bachelor, so does many people. But if you listen to what Yvette just said, she said she's a problem solver, and even put yourself in the position of somebody interviewing. Yvette was looking at you like from the person interviewing you. I'll remember you said you're a problem solver, and I'll remember you have great communication skills. And at least what I'm left figuring out is, wow, do those skills fit into what it is I want actually for the job?
Yes.
So your identity is not the law. It's great you're a lawyer, and Yvette, I'm sure you're a fantastic lawyer, yeah?
Yes, I am.
But the identity, even when I explain to you, remember guys, the identity is not the profession. It's great you're a lawyer, accountant, banker, all that is fantastic. Creative, even creatives like calling themselves creatives, yeah? But what is the skill? So is it a communication skill? Is it a problem-solving skill? And Yvette, just so that you know, how have you leveraged on that? Knowing that you're good at communication, knowing that you're good at problem-solving, even in your profession or in your job, just knowing that, how have you leveraged on it? Yeah.
So in my job, I do a lot of, it's commercial law. So there's a lot of contract related work. There's a lot of dealing with companies and corporates, international and local. So in that kind of situation, you need to advise your clients adequately and actually able to look through contracts and problems that arise in a different kind of light and give them solutions that are, how business people want solutions that are going to work for their business. They don't care that the law says, do this.
Absolutely.
To a point you can make the law work with what I'm doing. So for me, it's usually those kind of issues, comparing what the business wants vis-a-vis what the law says, bringing a solution that can work for both the company and also what the law requires. So for me, that analytical aspect comes into play very, very easily. And then there's also the fact that people will come and want you to interpret a lot of things for them. And they want you to just look at documentation, look at information and tell them, so out of everything that's been presented to me, what does this mean for my business? I have to turn the law into a communicable, into communicable wording for the business mind. Such that they know that this law says this, but in your business, this is what it will mean for you.
Ah, right. Okay. All right. I love that. And I love the fact that you used, then I am a solution provider, because, and thank you. Already people are taking cues from you, Yvonne, and Josephine is saying, I am a good writer. I'm witty. Mildred, professionalism. Irene, thinking outside the box. Faith Nganga. Because when you know that about yourself, you also understand how to almost sometimes change the environment, because sometimes we have to go in and change the environment to suit your ability to be creative, or your ability to be able to communicate, or your ability to problem solve. And I remember, even for me, this was one of the things, even in business, we had to understand, even as a business, what is good about us. And like you, Yvette, I'm also good at communicating sometimes less, for example, complex principles about money and making them easily relatable to people. So even when we went to pitch for a job, that is what we had to position. So instead of just doing a tender document like everybody else, we went and gave a presentation because we wanted to position our strength. So for all of you who are tuning in, please remember, when you understand the skill that you're coming in with, and please don't underestimate anything. I am good I have built this company as well because I'm a good listener. Sometimes it's things people have always told you, oh, you're so good at that. You're so good at thinking about that. So for a long time, people had kept telling me, I'm a good listener. I'm a good listener. And actually to do what I do, I need to be able to listen like I'm listening to you now. And, and then use that to figure out how do I create a unique solution for you. And I think, and Yvette, maybe you can share your experience with this, knowing that whether it's within the organization or different organizations, have you now found that you can transfer even to something that's not law, just by knowing it's communication and problem solving?
Yes, I actually can. Funny you actually mentioned that, because in my job, because I'm a commercial lawyer, that is all I do.
Yes.
I actually have to do a lot of other things. For instance, where there are ICT solutions that are required in our company, we have to look at them. We have to also understand what the solution provides for us, So that we have to investigate it. I find myself in a lot of those kinds of situations where I need to actually learn the system and, let's say, translate it to everybody else in an understandable kind of way.
So
that already shows you that that has nothing to do with the law. I'm just leveraging on my legal knowledge to a technical solution, technological solution, to be able to just make our work easier, for instance. And another thing is, you mentioned proposal writing as well. We also have things like tender documents that we usually have to submit. We have to find a way to present those in a way that's going to capture our audience when we're making this presentation. And that's not usually saying this chapter, this of the law says this. Yes. What they want to hear is, I have this problem. What are you going to do to solve it? Your skill is going to come and solve it. Now, it's to be able to translate what you will do with the law into a communicable document that will be presented to our audience in a way that will capture their imagination and their is not a skill that you just come by. It's not to practice over and over, and it has nothing to do with the law at all.
Yes. I just want to pick on that thing of practice. Now, when you understand that this is the skill I have, you become very intentional about becoming very good at that skill and practicing it. So we're not saying now that I mean, there's some people on the chat who have, like Rita has written like 10 reliable people, empathetic, great writes. Those things have come over time. And then you start being very intentional about what courses do I take? How do I improve so that I can actually leverage on that? But Yvette, why I'm asking that, there's so many people right now looking for jobs, And a lot of people I talk to they're in that box of, for example, I'm an accountant and I used to work for a big bank. So I'm looking for another accounting job in a big bank. And I think, first of all, the job industry that we're going into, people have to start thinking outside the box. Your opportunity may be in a startup ICT company. Especially when you start understanding my job is about my purpose, my vision, growing. I think people and everyone listening here, hear me on this, get outside the box about how you define exactly where that job should happen. So many people are like, it was being an accountant in a big bank. There's a startup that is being started up by some 20-year-olds, and that's where you need to be, and they need to have someone like you. But when you understand, for example, you're a communicator, problem solver, you've just told us you've used that in ICT. You've used that in so many other places. So anybody listening here, and I see so many people who have said so many interesting things like, I am a connector, I review processes, I create flow, I create value. I'm just loving, Belinda, thank you very much for that. I'm just loving what people are now saying about them. When somebody applies for a job, you can now say, my goodness, I can use my connection skills, I can use my ability to process and to create a value, because we are now saying, what is unique about me? And I always tell people, even when they're in the Centonomy classes, there's a reason we were all created with different thumbprints. Even if you have an identical twin, they don't have the same thumbprint as you. And the closer, and as we go through life, the closer we are towards discovering what and defining what that uniqueness is, the better it is for us. So we don't have to be in the box about who we are and where we can work. I'll give you guys, everyone, an example from what we've even discovered even in the Centonomy entrepreneur class. We go through this example of saying, who should you hire? For example, Yvette, and I'll ask you, if if you are, but you might get the answer very easily, yeah? But I'll ask you anyway. Yeah. Let's say you needed to have someone to chase payments. Who should you hire?
First of all, I'll get someone with grit.
Because I knew you'd get it. Yeah,
exactly. It has nothing to do with your qualification. If you're not persistent and consistent, and you have a way of getting through that door, it's not going to matter. You know your qualifications. Yeah. So the grit is the first thing I'm going to look for. Yeah.
So I knew you'd get it. And a lot of time people think I should hire an accountant, or I should hire someone who has CPA 1 to 6, and all those are fine. But actually what you're looking for is someone with grit, someone with great communication skills, someone who has the ability to figure out why hasn't the check been signed, and take people for coffee and, you know, get the real story. Yeah. Yes. So you're looking for a people person. So, and I hope everybody listening, you can now see when you look at things like that, when you look at things like that, you can now start seeing, you'll see a job ad that you'd not have looked at. But now when you understand what skills is this job actually, then you apply with those skills and go and interview those skills, you're better off. Yvette, someone is asking, Patricia, why do I'll answer it, but I want your opinion. Why do employers like to ask about one's weakness during an interview and not just focus on strengths? What do you think? Since you're great at communication?
First, I think that is a tactic to shake you. Yeah. Step one, because it actually brings out, you know, what do you think is your weaker side? You know, something that you will be nervous about. And when you're nervous, there's a certain way you will communicate to the employer how you work under pressure, or how you will handle a situation. It has nothing to do with the answer you actually give. Yeah.
And Patricia, I also want to say that I think sometimes it's got nothing to do with the answer, but it's why I would ask it is I'm actually looking for somebody who's very aware of what am I good at, what am I not good at, And I would ask it because what I'm trying to do as an employer, and I'm going to talk about, if you're an employer here, an entrepreneur, don't switch off because you think this is just for employees. I'm coming to you because we are at fault as well, I would ask it because I'm actually looking at somebody who knows what their strengths are. I'll ask both what their strengths are, but are aware enough to say, but these are my weaknesses. I'm not putting somebody in a job to build their weaknesses. I'm putting someone in a job to mostly leverage on their strengths, but I also want to understand how do they deal with their weaknesses, because nobody is perfect. And I'll use myself as an example. I'm good at this. I'm good at the communication. I'm good at the creativity. I'm good at content. I'm good at ideas. I am not good at administration. I am not good at execution. I'll tell you this, Yvette, you did not get the Zoom link from me for a reason. No. So now that I understand that, first continue building on my strengths, But what now I do is now I work with people who complement that. They are strong where I am weak. So I think even in the workplace and even with my team, people are strong at different things. And this is where teamwork comes in. When you know what you're weak at, you know where to reach out and ask for help. If I'm doing this project and in the interview, I said, I am strong at everything and weak at nothing, people will be like, then you do the project by yourself. So Yvette, what are your weaknesses? I've said mine, I've told the world, and we are people from Zimbabwe. Thank you, everybody who started, actually from the beginning, they started saying that from all over the world. Everybody now knows, don't get me for execution,
I think I mentioned it, analysis paralysis. I'm an analyzer. I will look at something in every single angle possible. I'll come up with the potential outcomes for it. The problem with it is you can end up spending too much time overthinking one particular thing. So when you have a situation like that, you need to step out of that zone and go and find someone who can say, brainstorm with you. So I'm very good on brainstorming because of that. I think that when other people start giving me their ideas, I think, that makes sense. Or they even echo something that I had thought of, but I I was maybe thinking about so many other options that I didn't focus on. So analysis paralysis was one thing.
Okay. Okay. Guys, I hope, Patricia, you've seen how she's dealt with that weakness, because now she's like, yeah, now I know analysis paralysis is me. Let me get other people and brainstorm, because Yvette, you tend to get stuck, because you're thinking about 100 options, and sometimes the solution is right there in front of you.
Yeah.
We have a question who's saying people, they feel like being a person who is not very social works to if someone is an introvert, works to their disadvantage at work. How can they improve? Are you an introvert or an extrovert, Yvette?
Introvert.
Yeah, team. Okay, whoever asked that question, by Georgie. This is team introverts right here, myself included. So you are in safe hands, yeah? But I'll let you answer that question.
Yeah. First, I'd like to tell the person who asked the question something that I was told by one of my mentors.
Yes.
The world is not necessarily made for introverts.
Yeah.
You have to learn to stand out. You have to learn to speak up, or everyone will trample on you. Yeah. Now, what you do is you find your time to recharge, because as introverts, we always need to find your time to recharge. But the way you plan your life, plan your communication, plan your outings, plan your interactions, it will make it so much easier for you to interact with everybody else.
So
that's what I do. So I look like I'm extroverted, because by the time I'm getting outside, I know what I'm going to do. I know why I'm out there. I know what I'm communicating. Then I'll go home and lock myself in my room and be like, oh my God,
Yes. So I hope that's my exact same answer. I'm also an introvert. So I'll do this. And whenever I tell people that, they are shocked, because my work is this. My work is being in front of people all the time. But once I am done with that, I go and recharge. I need to switch off the curtain, sit in a dark room by myself, or just me, my popcorn and Netflix, and nobody call me, phone in the drawer. I don't even want to interact with the phone. Yeah. But I'll also tell you what I've learned as an introvert, because I'm aware that my bandwidth for social energy is limited. I am very intentional about what I use that social energy for. So even at work, and that's why I think I like planning my day. It's not, sometimes you can see the calendar is free, but I know because I have to do this at 2 p.m., I could not have a heavy morning. So today I could not be with people, then I come sit here at 2. So I needed to be doing other kind of work that's a bit more quiet, toned down, then I can do this. So George, it's also planning your work. So even at work, and once you understand yourself, you start being the one people say, are you free for a meeting at this time? You're like, you look at it and you're like, but what's happening that day? Sometimes what you're subconsciously planning for is your energy. So George, he's saying, because she or he is saying, I'm not very social. So what aspects of work are important for you to go and be up with people? Then plan your energy for that. Then there are probably other things that you're doing, maybe sitting with people at lunchtime, that is just sucking and draining the very life out of you. So so that maybe you can do it twice a week, but you don't have to do it every day. So it's just saying, okay, just admit your social energies are well. And also, how does being an introvert work to your advantage? Because I am an introvert, I tend to, when I prepare, I am good. If I don't prepare, I am not good. But when I prepare, I will do much better than a lot of other people. So starting to ask, yes, I'm an introvert, but what does that introversion give me? I like to think about things. I like to reflect. I like to process. But once I've done that and I go and do the pitch, you've got to give me the job. There's no two ways about that. So, and I think this conversation that people are asking, Yvette, has linked back to what we're saying. Now, once you know what are you after in that job, truth be told, there's some environments that I think, and it's good for people to start investigating. And there's some environments where you now decide, this does not work for me, does not work for my personality, does not work for my mission, does not work for my purpose. And you start exploring the alternatives, because this is where I was coming back to the employers in the room. As much as we are telling people, these are the kind of people we need. We want people who are self-aware. We want people who are go-getters, who are entrepreneurs within the job. I think it's time for organizations as well to start changing cultures, because a lot of organizations have set up cultures that stifle people, that are about, we want you to improve on your weaknesses and we never focus on your strengths. Yeah. So I mean, maybe you can add your experience to that. What's your opinion about the cultures of working organization cultures? And then talk to the employers. I know there are many on this chat today. Yeah? Talk to the employers about the things we do wrong as employers that we don't get the best out of people.
There's this culture first that is in the employment sector.
Yeah.
I have to see you to believe that you're working.
Yes, yes.
I find that so hilarious because I do my best work when I'm by myself.
Yeah, yeah.
So an open plan office, for instance, will never work for someone who's an introvert. You will not get the best output from them, because we also have issues with too much happening around us.
Yes,
so if there's someone talking over here, someone answering a call there, and I'm trying to do my work, my friend, what I should take 10 minutes to do will take 2 hours.
Too much stimulation, yeah? yeah.
It will take me 2 hours to do something I should have done in 10 minutes, because there's just happening around me and I'm trying to gather my head, you know?
Yeah.
So giving employees the opportunity to say, remove themselves from a particular desk space, for instance, where you have an open office. You can have like silent working spaces.
Yes.
Or an occasional one day working from home.
Yes.
You know, like for this time, we've been working from home, and you can say that my concentration levels are just amazing. And I'm so much. In fact, when everyone was excited about, everything possibly being opened on Saturday, I was just, please God. So it gives me a chance to work even more from home, because this is a quiet, soulless space, and I get so much done, So like those need to be considered when you're hiring a person, as much as say their personality isn't exactly, you're trying to leverage on their personality, you also have to find a way to ensure that what they bring on the table, you can help them give you the best output from.
Yes,
exactly.
Yeah. I think definitely, and I'm talking from an employer, we've been shaken. I'm not perfect. We've made a lot of mistakes learning, but I think culture is going to be a key part. And even if you're looking for a job or before you look at what is the bank, how big they are, look at what is the culture and does the culture fit me? Because I think even when people were having all this whole discussion about millennials and work and all that, it was a lot of millennials are the ones who pointed at the problem. We're looking for culture. We're looking for a place where we're not going to be put in a box. Yeah. And I think there are a lot of cultures in organizations, because this is sometimes what you inherited. And sometimes when you start a business, and for all those people here who have started a business, where you worked is the culture you go and set up, and it doesn't work anymore. So people want to grow. As Yvette was saying in the beginning, one thing people are looking for is growth. Yeah. So if you're an employer or a manager or a leader in any organization, and you hang on to everything, you're the only one who goes to see the client. You're the only one who goes for the pitch. You're the only one who goes for the golf day. You're the only one who goes for the meetings with the boards and whatever. That kind of culture where everybody else doesn't get to grow apart from you, I think it's a problem, and you're not going to attract the right people. So we've got to change that culture. Another thing I see, and I'm coming to the money side of it, is we've had a whole lesson on money. Centonomy has been teaching about money for so long, and a lot of contracts that employers sometimes put is you're not allowed to do anything outside the job. And I feel that is a mistake that employers are doing. And people have got to understand, please, people will be investment groups, they'll be saving, they'll be running side hustles, because we've just come from talking about skills where people are going to realize I have more skills than even just the skills I am using at work. And I can leverage on that for other reasons. So I think that's another thing employers now need to understand. Yes, someone may be working for you, but their entire life is not you. Their entire identity should not be you. And even what we always teach in Centonomy, one source of income is not the way to go.
Yeah.
So I think what we've been talking about, potential for growth, of course, means and understanding your skills and knowing how to position them and understanding your plan. Of course, I think maybe you can give us your experience. Of course, it will lead to growth financially, even from your job. Yeah. But we've got to handle money also differently as employers, but also as people, we've got to take some responsibility. So maybe now you can just give us your experience, just combining what you've told us with the money side of things. How has that worked for you, both in your career and outside?
I'd just like to first echo just what you've said.
Yeah.
You cannot survive on just one income.
Yeah.
That is not possible at this day and age.
And it's also giving your employer too much responsibility. It can become
too much power.
Yeah, and too much power. Yes.
Too much power as well, because there's something that you talk about in Making Sense.
Yeah.
What would happen if you lost your job right now?
Yeah. Yes.
That's a question we all need to ask ourselves. And I feel like this period has gotten us to have to think about those kinds of things. Our job should not be our only source of income. We should find a way to leverage on what you have. And that's what I try to do actually for myself. I see having a job as an advantage of sorts. You have a constant paycheck coming in. Yes. You need to budget that paycheck to diverse money towards, something extra that you can do. That's one. And another way is, like you said, you have other skills. I can communicate. As much as I'm a lawyer, I can also write articles. I can I can write different, even advertisement, because at the same time, do things like copywriting and all of these things. These are things that involve writing. Yes. Writing is a thing that you do every day in your job as a lawyer. This is that you can translate to so many other places, which you haven't even thought about. So you see, just like that, you have so many other multiple streams and you're sitting on them, and it's on something that you do every day.
Yes.
It's already second nature to you. So we start thinking about skills like that and thinking about how to diversify what we can bring in for ourselves in that kind of. And sometimes people imagine that having an additional income stream will require you to put in so much money,
Yes.
You have an 8 to 5. What are you doing between 5 and say 9?
Yeah.
You're unmarried. You have no kids. All you do is go out, say what, partying with your friends.
Yeah.
Like hanging out Friday to Sunday. You have so much time for you to do so much more. And it's one of the things I did early on in my careers. Because even till now, because I'm unmarried.
Yes.
And don't have any kids.
Yes.
So time to spend more time doing things for myself. So outside of my 5, after 5, I can learn a new skill. After 5, I can start writing something else. After 5, I can do so many other things outside of just my work.
Yeah.
So, because you have time. Honestly, you only need what people say you need 8 hours of sleep. But frankly, I work well on like 5 or 6.
Okay, all right.
I might do the rest of the time.
Yeah.
So those are things that we need to start thinking about,
Yeah. We do, there's a calculation we do, and it's good you've talked about time, because I actually want to bring that in, because when we're talking about using your job to leverage wealth, I think where we are going in this conversation, when I say job, I mean in this entire conversation. So it's the job that you have or you're looking for, but also the skills that you have. You have along the way that you can actually use to do. So people now stop defining your job as where you go to work every day, 8 to 5. That's not your only job. When we say leveraging on your jobs, we meant exactly what Yvette has brought out. There's her job as a lawyer, but because she's good at her communication, she can also write. She can do other things. You can go MC and things like that. Because I have a question. Someone is asking, what are the passive incomes that people can do during this COVID period? And I want to start changing that question around, because that has, from time immemorial, people have been saying, what can I do to make money? What can I do to make money? I want Kamis, who's asked that question, to go back and start from where we're saying, what are your skills? Yeah. So are you good at writing? Are you good at communicating? Are you a creative? Do you draw? Do you garden? And don't think about skills as the things that look good, just look good. Maybe you're really good at making mandazis. So write it down. I'm really good at making mandazis. I'm really good at baking. And then say, okay, if I'm really good at baking, what can I do? Can I bake and deliver to people? So it starts from what do you know about yourself? and then matching that to an opportunity, whether that opportunity is a job or whether that opportunity is, I can actually do this passive income. But back to the aspect of time, it's so important that you brought that. People say, I don't have time. And one thing I want to tell people, even at work, and I think, and this is both from the employer side and the employee side, let's get out of this mentality that it takes 8 to 10 hours every day to do that. Because what this COVID season has shown us, when people are at home, what was taking them 8 hours is taking them 3 hours to do. And I think as employers, we have to get out of that mentality that if you've not clocked in at 8 and clocked out at 5 means you're not being productive. Honestly, if you can do what you're supposed to do in 3 hours, by then go and do. What does it matter? But also, so we've got to understand, even in the office, when we're saying we're in meetings, because people spend so much time in meetings. What needed one meeting takes 10 meetings. So let's start being intentional. Why are we having a meeting? What do we actually need? What is the results? Let's start following results, not follow rules. Rules say 8 to 5, but what is the result we are chasing? Then we can start determining that. And then as individuals, let's also, how much time are we spending on following? This is good use of social media, what you are doing today, of course, But sometimes we are spending so much time flicking through our phones, watching something useless on TV. So even if you spend 2 to 3 hours per day of useless time, that is 2 to 3 hours you could write. In a month, you could have finished writing a book, You could have taken a course that improves your skills and improves your ability to actually earn money. And when you look at what you earn per hour, you realize how much time you're actually wasting. And then we're wasting time, and then we're gonna blame our employers for not paying us enough. So I think what we're saying with this conversation is that take responsibility for your time, take responsibility also for your money, even that paycheck that you are getting. What are you doing with it? And then also start to understand the non-financial assets that you can use. And there's a lot of examples in the book, Making Sense, and a whole story about how people have actually leveraged on their non-financial assets. Now, Yvette, as an employer, why do people find it hard? And I just want to say, I'm so glad I'm sitting here with a fantastic team at Centonomy that each and every one of them treats this company like their business. But when I'm talking to other employers, I realize not everybody is singing the same song as me. And what I want to tell people out there is what employers are looking for is somebody who treats that business like their own. So the business can't be, even now, the business can't be in problems and you're like, me, I'm payments. So I'm just whatever. So I'm sorry, you guys cannot get customers. Me, I'm payments.
As long as I am paid.
Yes, as long as I'm paid, whatever you're going through. So as an employer, and I just want to see your response to this, as an employer, I'm looking for people who are going to treat my business like theirs, that my problem is our problem, not it's yours to fix, and good luck with you, but just please make sure that on the 24th that I am paid, that in the bank account that I am. We are looking for people who, if we had to leave, if we got sick, we had to leave for 1 month, we know the business will run. So Yvette, I want you to talk to people out there and say, why is it so hard to find those kind of people? What are we not doing to not be those? Leave the entrepreneur, the employer. What can we do so that we can be that person that employers are looking for?
First, we talked about the brand.
Yes.
Branding yourself is the first thing.
Yes.
Once you understand who you are and what your brand is, it doesn't matter where you're placed. You will work towards your brand. Because at the end of the day, your brand, you want your brand to thrive, which means you don't want any negative talk around your brand. You don't want any negative reviews. If there are negative reviews, you're going to want to improve them and work on them, which means that even if, let's say, you are employed in the worst place there is. You absolutely hate your job. You hate your boss. You hate your work. Guess what? You're still there and you're still you. Brand Yvette.
Yeah.
You always come out as the brand that, even in the hardest of times, you did what you had to do and you stood for the company. Understand? So this thinking that I'm only here to just do the work that I've been given. Just my JD says.
Yes.
You can't just, because one, your brand won't grow. You will never learn that way. You'll never do more that way. You're not going to accelerate that way. Easily people are drawn towards people who will offer solutions without necessarily being asked. Imagine as an entrepreneur, I'd want a person who will spot problems for me before I even start seeing them.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm here thinking, we have, like for example, right now, we have COVID-19 going on. I have to shift everyone, start working from home. How will I do that? And Yvette somewhere will sit and be like,
yes, absolutely.
WhatsApp video call. I use Zoom to talk to my relatives abroad. That tool can be used to help my employer help us work from home.
Yes.
Imagine if I now stand up and go to my employer and be like, so I can see from what has been happening in the world, it's likely that I'm not working from home. I'm thinking if we have this tool before then, we will be able to and even start to continue running the business smoothly without having any issues. You know what I've just done? I've made myself invaluable because I've walked up to him. And I've told him, I can see a problem coming. I have a solution. Don't think about it too much. You think about other bigger things.
Yeah.
You know, those are the things that employers want. And we have to learn to want to grow ourselves, to do it for ourselves. Once you have an idea of what you want as a brand, you will easily go out of your way to grow because you see it as a learning opportunity. You see it as a chance to grow. And your growth also helps your company's growth. And remember, imagine your employer is not doing you a favor by giving you a job.
Yeah.
It's a favor. It's not.
Yeah.
We have hired you, contracted you for a particular thing, which you're supposed to do, and you're supposed to add value to them. Otherwise, are you there?
Yeah, I love that you said that. We've got to start seeing this relationship, first of all, is not, it's about, there's a value exchange. You're getting value being there, and the employer needs to create the kind of environment and culture and opportunities that people do get value from being there. And the employer is also getting value from you. So there's a value exchange happening. Nobody is doing anybody a favor, and it stops being beyond a transaction. Yvette, I really like what you said about JDs, especially now. Guys, do not be stuck on your JD, especially now. And I'm telling guys this because I go into forums and I am having conversations with large organizations, medium-sized organizations, and even small organizations. Anybody hiring or employing between 5 to even 1,000 people, I have had this conversation. And this thing keeps coming up. So guys, let me be very open with you about this. People are realizing the job that used to be done by 20 people is being done by 10 people. Yeah. Because the 10 people are the kind of people Yvette is talking about. And the other 10 have said, this is my job description. Yeah. So they're now realizing as we go forward, who do we actually need? Yeah. And you know, employers have been given the leeway to tell people, send people on leave. Yeah. During this pandemic, and you don't know how long the pandemic is going to be. Yeah. So please be understanding that employers are noticing, just like employees are noticing the right cultures to be working in, employers are also noticing that these are the 10 people I need. And if I was to get more people, it's people like that. So don't say, okay, me, I was office admin and now we are not in the office, so there's no office admin to do. Yeah. What is going to happen is the business, if you stay and say there's no office admin to do, the business is in these months going to change without office admin. And you're gonna, even if pandemic is over in 3 months, they'll be like, by the way, we survived without office admin for 6 months. So why do we need someone to come back and do office admin? So you as an office admin should have become the HR manager. You should have been coordinating meetings on WhatsApp and Zoom calls, getting people mental wellness talks, you know, to help them during this. That is how you should have reinvented. And I'm just using that one position as an example. This applies to all roles. And as employers, we're also looking at somebody who will, yes, your job may be office admin, but did you come in, do you understand how this business works? Because some people just understand their job, but they don't even understand how it relates to the bigger picture. Do you understand the vision of that business? Do you even understand how do we make money? How do clients walk through the door? The most important thing for any business, because as long as customers are not walking through the door, none of us have a paycheck. Yeah,
exactly.
So how do you make life easier for your boss or the people who are in charge of getting customers to get the customers walking through the door? How do you remove some of the burdens from them so that, as Yvette was saying, so they can focus on their core things? That way you start becoming very invaluable. Yeah. Yvette, I know you went through Centonomy Career Hub. I think even Centonomy 101, but 101 I think this conversation were really whatever. How do you feel it helped you in your career journey?
That was actually a cool story.
Yeah.
A few months after Centonomy Career Hub, I got a promotion.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I can safely say that would not have happened had it not been for Career Hub. Because how it happened was that I was asked to find if any of my peers, people I know who would be fitting for a senior role in our organization.
Yeah.
And I was like, so I mean, I've been told this, and then I sat and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I walked out of my boss's. I'm like, I know a few people. Then I sat at my desk and I was like, wait a minute, I can do this.
Yes.
What did my say? Ask for what you want.
Yes.
This is your opportunity right here. I went right back and said, so about that position you're talking about, actually, I can do it. Why are you looking at it?
Yes.
And my boss was like, oh, wait, I didn't know you were interested.
Wow.
So imagine you've been sitting in your head, you're thinking, if I ask, maybe I'm not even good enough. I'm not qualified. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
You sit there, you've been frozen in place thinking about how wrong it can go.
Yeah.
In your boss's mind, they didn't even think that you were interested or that you wanted it, So that you've gone and shown interest, they're like, this might actually make more sense. She's already in here. She knows what is going on in this place. She's ready for it. Let's do this. And just like that, that's how I got promoted.
Wow.
Yeah. So I can say that was one of the biggest landmarks. So, and in the smaller spectrum of everything, I learned how to be more vocal and to be more accepting of who I am. I learned that I'm very good at talking to people that are generally in the entrepreneurial space. The people who could market, the entrepreneurs, the bosses, the employers. I'm very good at interacting with them because it's easy for me to solve people's problems.
Wow. Okay.
I tend to find it easier to just deal with the problems that they have and make life easier. I have issues with, say, doing what I need to do to make you look good. I don't need credit. I just need to everything is efficiently done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. So knowing yourself can get you a promotion. And I love that, because how many opportunities, even in the organizations that we work, are we missing out on because we're like, it's not me, I'm not good enough, I don't have the experience. And I think I love what you said, because now when you knew you're the one, you could put up your hand and say, gosh, I can do it. You don't have to look extra outside. And even Faith, where she's also saying, after doing Centonomy Career Hub, I got hired in a new company, which is still isn't up to date. And earlier, even Rita, who had said also doing Centonomy Career Hub, after doing so, she's able to take up coaching in her small circles, which is able to actually get into as a side business. So, I mean, it's amazing what happens. And I think that's what Career Hub is all about. It's really about removing the entrepreneur within. So as we said in the beginning, the entrepreneur is not just starting a business, but you are also an entrepreneur. You can also do so many things. So congratulations, Yvette, and may you keep getting more and more and more promotions. I'm so inspired just by listening to you. I know you've also read Making Sense. So in line with your promotion, what do you feel you've most learned from the book?
Wow. So, it's a book. It's like the gift that keeps giving.
Yes.
You understand? Making sense has a way of reminding you of the lessons that you kept missing every time, or the lessons you knew, but somehow along the way you were like, I'm okay now. Let me just continue operating the way I was operating before. Then you read it again and it hits you. I have fallen off the wagon.
Yeah.
I have learned that there have been many instances where I have fallen off the wagon and have to keep coming back and be intentional about it. You know, it's not about like sitting by and doing nothing is usually the problem. The fact that you need to always reflect, that you need to always read and find out where are you, taking stock, so to speak.
Yes, yeah.
Every so often you have to take stock. A lot of us do that.
Yes,
and this reminds you that if you don't do that, you're failing to plan, and that means your plan fail. Financially and generally in all aspects of your life, you have to make sure you constantly take stock. Write your goals, write down your
absolutely.
Plan. See where you can diversify in different aspects. Just be aware, be intentional. So that's one thing I took from this book.
Okay, excellent. And today, because we're telling people, one of the take homes for people today is to start thinking of yourself as me limited. If you can take something, a word from today, me limited. So me limited has a vision, me limited has goals, me limited has a plan, so that even when you're in a job or a role, you can see how that job fits into your vision. So you are allowed to have a vision and a plan, just like a business has a vision and a plan. And of course, money is a big part. So they could be your career growth, but we're also saying also your money, because I think we also, if we're honest with ourselves, people keep earning and even as incomes increase, spending increases, and they keep wanting more money because of not being intentional. What do you even want money to do for you? And I think you're right. One thing I really question in the book, if something happened to your job today, what would happen to you? Because your employer is not there to create dependency forever. So you've got to be using that income to plan, to grow, even for yourself. So take away from today, me limited, take away brand. Everything that you are doing is brand. If you're sitting and gossiping and complaining about your boss, that is brand you're building. That is also brand. So you've got to really understand, what is this brand? Who am I? The skills, and learning to position that brand. People could be in a meeting where they've called it a strategy. But and you're thinking, I'm back to saying I'm just office admin. But when you know me, I'm a good communicator, I'm going to say, I think I have something to add in that meeting. And I think Yvette, what I've taken from you, let's just start putting our hands up. Yeah,
definitely.
Just start putting our hands up and understand you have value, where it's value exchange between you and your employer. From an entrepreneur, I've told you guys what we are looking for are people who will come and problem solve with us. Take this journey as their own and help us build. We even want to hire people who are better than us. We know. And now I've said, I work with people who are better than me. This is not happening just because of me. It's because I work with people who are better than me. Even the idea from this came from my colleague Tessie. So it's looking for people who are in line with that. And who want to grow and are willing to take responsibility about the growth. Growth is uncomfortable as well. Growth comes also with you being told you're wrong. So if you want to do Career Hub, Centonomy Career Hub, we're just winding up. These are the modules that are there, and I think it is really about you understanding yourself and then understanding how to position yourself for the opportunity. In a nutshell, that's what it is. So how do you make those moves? How do you know your strengths? Building a personal brand. Someone had asked, I'm an introvert. How do I deal with this socialization? So social capital, you get to understand what social capital you need and which social capital you're wasting your time with. Then of course, money, money, leadership, and how to communicate effectively. If you guys want more of this conversation, so that's Career Hub. You can call Wendy on that number, email her. Classes are online and they begin 2nd July. You can get the book in bookshops. You can get it online, and you can call the number on the screen, 0715085777, to find out more information about the book and how you can get it. It's on Amazon. I know people from all over the world. You can't get the book on Amazon. Rafu Books and Nuria Online, and people in Kenya, the bookshops we are working with is Yaya Center and Africa Book Hub and Prestige Bookshop. So Yvette, I thank you so much for coming. Parting shots. What are your parting shots for people today?
Branding is important. Your brand makes you do things that you couldn't even imagine you can. Once you know yourself, know your brand, it's beyond where you are.
Yeah, okay. Branding. Me, I'll just leave people with, you are a business, me limited. Start being intentional about yourself the same way businesses are intentional. It's not just a job. Yeah, it is about a plan, a vision, and a purpose. So, and a job is everything. It's a job where you go to work every day, but it's understanding your skills allows you to open up your mind to what this job may look like. You may find, and this is where we're probably going, you have your main job, but you have 2 other things that you're also doing that gives you additional income. Once again, it has been fantastic having you, Yvette. Thank you so much for your time, sharing your experience. And I think a lot of people, the comments, everyone has really learned a lot from you. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next week on Friday, 2 p.m. Remember, we have these conversations every Friday. So have yourself a good weekend and look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.
It's been lovely. Bye.
All right. Bye.